Hi guys, so when you're looking for picking your animal, a lot of the biggest questions is, should I go ahead and get a baby, a puppy or kitten, or should I go ahead and get an adult animal? So this is JoJo. He was actually born on our family's farm. And so we knew what he was right from the get-go. So we had several puppies. We ended up selling the rest of ours, but we kept JoJo. And that's because we got to select, and we saw him right from birth, and we got to pick him and pick his personality. I knew health-wise how he was right from the get-go, and I knew personality-wise. Here you'll see also, this is Panther. He's like, I want to get out and play. JoJo says, hey. Panther was actually also born. He was born in my husband's shop. And so we got to see him right from the get-go. We have raised him, so we know his health. We also know his personality. Again, we found homes for the rest of the litter, but we kept him because we selected him and his brother, Black Bear. We ended up selecting both of them just because of their personality, okay? So again, those are things if you're looking for something. Now the disadvantages, you've got to train, like we're teaching him how to leash train. You got with cats, if you're keeping them inside, you're looking at litter training. So there are some disadvantages to it, and some extra expenses like on healthcare, like the additional shots when they're younger and things like that. So that's one of the things, the disadvantages, if you decide to select for a younger animal. In pet selection, a lot of times you're, again, thinking about, oh, I want that cute little puppy, kitten, or in this case, a foal. They're cute and small, but there's a lot of money that has to go into them as they grow up. Even growing up, that's going to be a lot of expenses in nutrition and healthcare and everything else. But then what I find is you're actually inheriting a lot of problems, or potentially a lot of problems, when you get into buying or purchasing or acquiring an animal that's older. So while my cats and dogs are on the younger age, my horses are much older. I wanted something for my kids that could be safe for them to ride, that had the experience. I didn't want to put them on a fresh 2-year-old that hadn't been trained to ride or had only 30 days. So we looked for selection of horses that had the experience. So I'm going to start with Val. This is our first horse. We acquired her when she was in her 20s. Notice with her ears come back, and then notice that she gets upset with it here. She was actually even worse when we first got her. You walked up to the stall and she would attack you, okay? And you say, why would you buy this for your kid? Well, she is the safest thing to ride and wonderful to ride and extremely talented. But what we inherited was this behavior. And you say, well, can we work on it? We worked on a little bit, but I will never be able to get rid of some of that, okay? She will always have, whatever happened in her previous life, she has kind of a distrust with other people. And you see her biting there, that's, again, a vice, that anger there, okay? And so while all I'm doing is petting her gently, you can see that frustration. In fact, what she's done is bite on other things, her frustration, but she's trying not to bite me, okay? And so again, this is something that we inherited. Now, health-wise, surprisingly, as a 20-year-old, she was extremely healthy. Now, as she's gotten older, now she's 26, we've seen some more problems, but that's just with age. But she was actually surprisingly really healthy, but the behavior was something we had to get through, okay? So now we'll look at another horse. So as you come up to this is Paris. And she is that cute little pony that every little kid wants. In fact, sadly enough, one of the good things with, when you're selecting horses, and you go for an older horse, you know their size to begin with. You don't have to worry about growth-wise, are they going to get a certain size? The only problem is when you purchase a horse that's already maxed out on their size, and your kids haven't, well, guess what? Then they might outgrow it. So she's gotten a little bit small for her. She's still a hardy little thing. But really what I want to point out for her is, one of the things we found, now while it was visual and we could see it, we didn't know the history behind it. So if you notice here, this scar here on her hock, so again, we call this a blemish. But again, at some point she had had an injury that we just didn't know anything about. She had actually been sold quite a few times before she actually came from California and then kind of moved from there to there to there. So we don't have a history on that hawk. So we've seen some, minor hawk issues, and that's something we always constantly watch. But that question, that unknown, is something you have to be aware of when you buy an older animal. And then you've got to assume what exactly is wrong when you start to see problems. So that's one of the things there. And then finally, I'll point out, and we won't pull him out, for him, we were really excited to get this sweet guy, Chippy, or we thought we were. He had a history of doing really well in youth halter, and we thought, oh, this will be a great youth horse. We bought him sight unseen. And one of the things I would recommend with an older animal, if you're going to buy them, I would get a veterinary inspection. That's very common in the horse industry, but even in dogs, cats, you can get a veterinary opinion. And so that's one thing you might want to think of. We didn't do that, so, learn from my mistakes. He showed up. He was so great, we ended up having him delivered directly to a show. When he got here, he was extremely underweight. And on top of it, pretty much a walking skeleton. He had bad ulcers. He also had some neurological issues and muscular issues. And then finally, on top of, once we got him healthy, we realized why they weren't spending the money to take care of him. He may have done really well on the ground, but for little kids, he had fun trying to buck them off. So you put a talented rider, he's good, but he knows those little kids he can get off. So again, that's one of the things we learned. So behavior and health issues were something that we dealt with unforeseen. So again, you want to be realizing it's great that we had something that was already full grown and ready to go for the kids, but we soon learned with all of these animals, either behavioral health issues that were going to be an issue. So those are some of the things you've got to think about when you're selecting your companion animal. Is that cute little small animal, that kitten or puppy or foal or whatever, is that going to be something that's going to be useful for your house, helpful for your house, and something you management-wise can deal with? Same thing, are you going to be able to, with an older animal, like in the case of our Chippy and Paris, and even with Val, be able to manage and deal with some of the health and behavioral related issues?